with us in caring for our veterans.
Broadcasting from the Technology Recycler Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News, 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Former President Trump holding his second news conference of the week at his New Jersey golf club, where he took aim at Vice President Harris over high prices and other policies.
The former president was surrounded at his Bedminster golf club with tables filled with groceries and other items he says current administration policies have made cost more. He believes a win by the Democrats in November won't do anything to make products more affordable.
A radical left person wants to put price controls all over the place, which will end up driving up your prices, not down your prices.
He again criticized the vice president on border policy and global affairs, saying she's the reason he describes the world as being in chaos. The former president says polls have him leading. Fox polling has him with a 1-point national edge within the margin of error.
Fox's Gernal Scott. Vice President Harris and President Biden were in Maryland this afternoon talking about lowering prescription drug costs for seniors.
Medicare was prohibited by law from negotiating lower drug prices. And those costs then got passed on to our seniors. But not anymore.
President Biden said the deal means Americans can save money on life-saving medications they need and deserve. This has a new Fox News poll on how voters feel about President Biden dropping out of the 2024 race.
8 in 10 Americans say they agree with President Biden not running for re-election. This, according to a Fox News poll of over 1,100 U.S. voters. 67% say they feel he should finish his term. 32% feel he should resign.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin, a reputed Peruvian gang member suspected of 23 killings in his home country, has been arrested in Endicott, New York, about 145 miles northwest of New York City. Immigration officials say Gianfranco Torres Navarro is being held in a federal detention facility near Buffalo. America's listening to Fox News.
Why choose a Sleep Number Smart?
Can I myself?
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He got a deal. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending this hour. Former Notre Dame football player Cierre Wood got a deal where he pled guilty to second-degree murder and child abuse for his role in the 2019 death of a 5-year-old girl. The girl, who was the daughter of Wood's then-girlfriend, had suffered blunt force injuries. Some reports indicate that Wood may have used exercise as a form of punishment for her. His deal involved an Alford plea, which essentially means he can still call himself innocent, and he will be eligible for parole in a decade. In other words, while life in prison is a possibility, it is not a guarantee. Plus, up to 20 Indianapolis area schools received threats Thursday. Ryan Hedrick has the details.
The details showed up in the inbox of someone who works at Park Tudor School. The threat said there was some kind of device, so the school called the cops. IMPD says they showed up and their officers conducted 2 sweeps and determined that nothing was there. Park Tudor says school was delayed, and it started at 10. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
But Washington Park in Indianapolis will soon feature a variety of updates, including a new playground, splash pad, shelter, and more. Indy Park said Thursday that the $3.5 million project is being funded by a Lilly Endowment grant that was announced last year. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Now here's the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Thursday night will be cloudy with thunderstorms likely at times scattered across the region. Chance of rain in your neighborhood about 70%. Winds out of the south at 5 to 10 and a low temperature near 70 degrees with warmer but cloudy weather tomorrow. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Drew Arsutis for 93 WIBC.
Back to school season arrives in Indiana. It's time to focus on school supplies and those home projects you've been delaying. Don't worry. With Moss Roofing, you're not alone. They're here to help with your roofing and siding, making sure your home is a safe place for math homework each and every day. Choose Moss Roofing to transform your home's exterior with top-notch James Hardy siding, protecting your home from those Indiana storms and enhancing your curb appeal. Their inspections are always free, and they'll even give you a 3D design link so you can visualize the makeover before they even begin. Talk to Moss Roofing today, a second-generation family business based right here in central Indiana. For a job done right every single time. I love when they do that. MossRoofing.com. 3 317-747-3665. 317-747-3665. Tell them Tony Kinnett sent you. 747-3665 or online at Moss, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Limited time. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Advent is now open in Indianapolis and Avon. Find out more at adventknows.com.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Indy Humane. Find your new best friend today. Visit indyhumane.org.
Tony Katz.
It's Kendall and Casey.
The Hammer and Nigel show. All right, well, when does your show start? Do we know? I feel like I've been promoting this for 9 years now.
This is the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Hey, good evening and welcome to the Tony Kinnett Cast on the Daily Signal, nationally syndicated first to 93 WIBC out of Indianapolis. There are a few different times in life when we've all played chicken. Perhaps you've climbed atop the shoulders of one of your friends, or if you're the bulkier individual, at least I hope if you're the bulkier individual, you're at the bottom as you have someone on your shoulders in the pool, and you try to have the other person knock somebody over. Perhaps you've played chicken in some kind of sports where you have run at someone else, whether on the football or the soccer field, or perhaps some kind of a school event. You've run at each other and waited for the person at the very last second to just kind of ditch it to the side, and you proved that you indeed were more steely-eyed, more brave, more steadfast, and sure, whatever. A lot of people have played chicken. Perhaps you've been incredibly stupid, and you've played chicken while driving, and you've driven at someone else until one of you was going to move. And then at the very last second, somebody pulled away. That's pretty much what's been going on in the Trump versus Harris election over the last couple of weeks. Because Kamala Harris stepped up immediately as soon as she took the presidency re-election bid from Joe Biden and threw him, over lying dead as freshly baked roadkill. And as she took the stage, she said, "Well, Donald Trump, are you going to debate me?" And Trump said, "Yeah, I'll debate you." And he ended up canceling then because Joe Biden said he wasn't running for re-election. She no longer was on the schedule, the ABC News debate, because that was between Trump and Biden with rules for the two of them. And so Kamala said, you canceled on that debate. You're too scared to debate with me. You know what? You've got something to say. Say it to my face, you coward. And so Trump said, well, that debate wasn't for the two of us, but okay, here are 3 debates that I want to do. So he suggested a debate on Fox, a debate on ABC News, even the debate that she had proposed, and then a debate on NBC. So you've got the right-leaning news source, the left-leaning news source, and then you've got the ABC, the one that had been agreed upon between Biden and Trump. And all of a sudden, we didn't hear anything about Kamala talking about the debates anymore. It got really awkward because Kamala had been betting on, and many of the liberal pundits had been suggesting, that, well, Trump's just too chicken to show up. He's probably just going to stay at home. And then it turned out that actually Trump was ready for a debate. In fact, Trump was ready for several debates. And according to a news statement from the Harris-Walz campaign, quote, "The debate about debates is over. Donald Trump's campaign accepted our proposal for 3 debates, 2 presidential and a vice presidential debate. I'm sorry, that's actually not what was proposed. Trump suggested 3 debates, and the Harris campaign said, well, actually, we're going to do the ABC News one, and then we'll probably do some other kind of debate later on in October, and then we'll have 1 vice presidential debate between Walz and Vance." I'm sorry, wait, what? So Trump accepted the chicken challenge from Kamala. Okay, you want a debate? Let's have 3 debates. And then Kamala's like, whoa, wait a minute here. Let's not get too hasty, and has started backing out. So now there's only one debate scheduled again. The Harris-Walz campaign has refused Trump's offer on the NBC debate and the Fox News debate. So as of this point, there are no presidential debates that have occurred. There are no presidential debates that are scheduled other than the ABC News one that was originally set up for Biden and Trump, which is very, very unprecedented in a presidential election season. Why would the Harris campaign, at this very last second, why pull away? After all, isn't Harris experiencing this amazing surge? Isn't she just fantastic and true and wonderful and stellar and brave and joyful and powerful in adjectives? Well, about that, when Kamala Harris gets off script, like, let's say, at a presidential debate, for instance, she sounds like an absolute idiot. This comes in many flavors and varieties. Usually whenever Kamala actually has to talk about something substantive, she starts talking like she's on some kind of a sitcom. Here is today, Kamala was in Wisconsin talking about the importance of the duality of democracy or something.
Because when we think about the strength of our democracy, I think that there's a duality to the nature of democracy. When it's intact, it's so strong. In terms of what it does to uphold and protect individual rights and freedoms. So strong in its nature.
Yes. So strong.
It's very fragile.
It's so strong. It's like she's just trying to describe soup to a child. It's I'm rubbing my tummy. It's so good. And this is not the first time she's tangled with amazing ideas like democracy. Here was the last time Kamala went off script, which was on the tarmac when the United States secured hold of 2 prisoners that were previously held in Russia, 2 American citizens returning home. Here's Kamala talking about the strength of democracy.
This is just an extraordinary testament to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy and understands the strength that rests in understanding the significance of diplomacy.
The strength of the significance of the diplomacy, democracy. Oh, man. Actually, I'll be honest with you. My wife sent me a clip from Drake and Josh. Have you ever caught that sitcom over on Nickelodeon? In which, in an end credit scene, Drake Bell, who's kind of the dumber but funnier character on the show, he describes geometry a lot like Kamala Harris. I mean, the similarities are just amazing. You check this one out.
Well, geometry, you see, is all about shapes, like circles, which are circular, and it's their circularity which contributes to the roundness of them.
I mean, is that not dead on exactly the same as Kamala Harris? One of those is running for president of the United States. One of those is acting on a sitcom. And by the way, even when she's on script, like Drake is in that particular episode, she's not much better. So Kamala Harris has now had 2 or 3 different videos in which she pretends to have an impromptu phone conversation with someone else. And now she's like talking about it later in this ad posted by Joe Biden. And it's so fake and cringy. When I say that Kamala Harris is just a reincarnated version of Hillary Clinton, this is what I mean. It's so fake, it's painful.
I was hoping maybe we wouldn't have to.
I called you, Tim.
Yes.
You didn't answer, Tim.
I know.
What happened?
The most important call of my life. It popped up, and we didn't recognize the caller ID, and it went to voicemail.
Hi, this is Tim. I'm not able to answer.
There you go.
Oh, it's so real. Yikes! I mean, really. It's not getting any better. And the way that you know that this is really starting to be a threat to the Harris-Walz campaign is because in the last 3 weeks of this sugar high of this election, Kamala surged up to just a 1-point lead nationally. A 1-point lead, according to Real Clear Polling, which is an aggregate for a lot of polls around the country that's very careful about how they weight things left and right, making sure that there are as few outliers as possible. The best examples that we can find so far put Kamala Harris and Donald Trump in a toss-up in virtually all of the swing states. And then Kamala leading Trump by 1 point in some national polls, Trump leading Kamala by 1 point in some other national polls. That's not good. That's not good for the Kamala Harris campaign. That's very, very bad because Republicans do not get that close in national polls. They don't. And it's starting to make things very, very tense because, by the way, I will point out that even regular kind of run-of-the-mill entertainers and individuals on social media are starting to notice that Kamala is directly avoiding the media. Stephen Smith, host of ESPN, not known at all for being a conservative, really illustrates this quite clearly.
Now, Joe Biden stepped aside as the presumptive Democratic nominee on July 21st. Okay? Now I'm going to look at this right now. I'm looking at my calendar because I just want to make sure. July 21st was a Sunday. We've had 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and 1 day since Joe Biden stepped aside. The only damn place we've seen Kamala Harris is at pep rallies. What's up?
I mean, if you as a group of listeners there out there in the audience or watching the live streams on YouTube or Twitter X, if you think that the rest of the country is oblivious to the fact that Kamala Harris is hiding desperately from any kind of media accountability, I hate to break it to you, but there's a reason that Trump and Kamala are close in the polls instead of Trump doing the traditional Republican thing and being several points behind in all states. So, just saying, there's a little bit of an issue suggesting that Kamala's sugar high is not only going to last for such a long time, but that it's going exceedingly well. It's not. That's all they could squeeze out of it. And the idea that the Democrat National Convention is going to be another huge boost, sorry, I'm not seeing it. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Right now, we're going to go to break. We're going to come back with Saurabh Sharma from American Moment. We're going to get into some on-the-ground numbers. I'm tired of hearing about the polls for a few minutes. We're going to dig into some real stuff that's not really being cited. Don't go anywhere. This is the Tony Kinnett Cast on the Daily Signal, syndicated first on 93 WIBC.
Kendall and Casey.
There's no way Hogson didn't know exactly what this guy was, what he was doing. Not only did he keep him around, but then he brought him back. He was rid of him and then brought him back in 2023 for his re-election campaign against Jefferson Shreve. Hogsett can't plead stupid on this. He can't plead ignorant on this. He knew what the guy was, and the question is, why did he keep bringing him back?
Kendall and Casey, weekdays 9 till noon on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
People are talking about Window Nation. Their Window Nation customer, Vicky, says, we couldn't be happier. This was a great experience. She's just one of over 33,000 5-star reviews. That's because Window Nation is all about the value. And this August, they're giving you great value during the Window Nation anniversary sale. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free, plus no interest or payments for 24 months. And if you act now, you'll get an extra $250 credit.
Window Nation values your satisfaction in their quality, service, and affordability. That's why they stand behind their windows with a lifetime warranty. Window Nation was also recently ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installation companies. So you can trust Window Nation for high-quality, affordable windows. Hurry, this big sale ends August 31st. Schedule that in-home estimate right now at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Don't be impressed when you hear someone settle their case for what may seem like lots of money. $500,000 seems like lots of money until you learn they lost both legs, had a brain injury, or were paralyzed and can never work again. All law firms are not the same. To see what your case may be worth, go to forthepeople.com and look at our verdicts and settlements for cases just like yours. Look before you leave. Hire the right lawyer. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family heating and air.
Maintenance is going to drastically increase the efficiency and performance of your system. It's also going to significantly improve the longevity of it. People think that they are saving money by skipping their maintenance, and in reality, they're just shaving years off the life and increasing the consumption of that unit, spending a lot more in the long term.
Get your tune-up today at Family Heating and Air, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Drip. Drip. Drip.
Annoying, isn't it?
Drip.
It's even worse when it's coming from your fireplace.
Drip.
That water stain on the ceiling isn't going to fix itself. Call Chimney Solutions Indiana. Their certified technicians will make sure your fireplace is ready for reliable comfort this season. Stop the
drip.
Call the experts trusted by thousands of Indiana homeowners. Call Chimney Solutions Indiana at 317-757-6979 or go to chimneyindy.com. Shh. The silence you just heard? You could have used that space to reach your customers. Get your message in front of your customers. Text business to 71007 now. Get results with Radio 1.
Reach your fitness goals in 2024 with the 20-minute once-a-week program at Exercise Inc. 5 locations now in Fishers. Visit exerciseinc.com.
Tomorrow starts at IU Indianapolis. Our students are the engine of Indiana's future, in powerful partnership with the country's leading businesses and organizations. We prepare each student to make impacts that matter right here at home, inspiring bold endeavors and life-changing careers. Bring on tomorrow, IU Indianapolis. Discover how we're powering what's possible at go.iu.edu/tomorrow.
When it's time to renovate, it's time to call Booher, B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com, because it's about the process. It's about dealing with professionals who are with you every step of the way, communicating how things work. The best craftsmen and professionals who have been doing kitchens and bathrooms in Indianapolis for 2 decades. Talk to Booher Remodeling today about how they work and why it will work for you and your new kitchen. Call 317-852-5546, 852-5546, or online at Booher, B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com.
Through their service, veterans have our backs. Now we should have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org.
This is the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Hey, welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast, now nationally syndicated from the Daily Signal, first on 93 WIBC. Look, whether you're in our audiences in Denver or in Little Rock, all the way up from Milwaukee, swinging over to Pennsylvania, or down to the panhandle even of Florida, according to Axios, there's a lot going on regarding polling. And whether these polls are going to change everything for Kamala's campaign or for Trump's campaign, and whether it's all for naught. Well, look, I don't like the running to the bank every time you make a withdrawal to withdraw all the money and call it quits. I'm for a little bit of the more eased back, relaxed approach at understanding this stuff. And when it comes to getting that kind of cool, calm, collected, measured approach, we go to Saurabh Sharma, the man, the myth, the legend behind American Moment, changing America from the ground up from the excellent guys and gals that he's training over there. Saurabh, thanks for joining us, man.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Tony.
So the thing that set off this invite that is when I poked producer Lou to see if you were available to come on is something that you had retweeted over from David D. Chapman, political analyst, pointing out that the July voter registration change in Pennsylvania, and I'm looking at these numbers, Republicans had registered 21,000 individuals, and Democrats had registered not quite 6,000, so 5,788. We don't hear a lot about voter registration number changes when we're looking at this side of the election. It's all down to the polling. First of all, do you know why we spend more time looking at polling on the meander? It seems like registration would be, I don't know, maybe a more reliable metric to base campaign strategy on?
It's certainly a huge part of it. Look, the polling is the sexy news item that gets you a lot of clicks this time of year. People also use polling as a way to push certain narratives about how the election is going. Push polls are used all the time to help candidates raise money. And so, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We are in unprecedented territory right now. The Harris-Walz ticket is completely undefined nationally and is enjoying a honeymoon period that comes from people just being glad that they don't have the senile, doddering, old Weekend at Bernie's guy running at the top of the ticket. So President Trump's polling is not looking as excellent as it was a few months ago. I think that polling would have narrowed significantly by this stage anyway. A lot of Democrats would have come home to Joe Biden. We're a very partisanly divided country.
Mhm.
But it's always important to realize that we don't have a national election. There is no national popular vote that will determine who wins the presidency. We have 50 elections in 50 different states. And really, we have 6 elections that actually matter. What are those 6? Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada. That's where this election will be decided. And what the Trump campaign has been doing all the meanwhile that is going to be permanent in helping it win is the voter registration work that they've been doing and that other outside groups have been doing. And you can go over to James Blair, who's the political director of the campaign, of the Trump campaign's Twitter, and see some really fantastic numbers on this. But just to rattle a few of them off, in Pennsylvania in 2020, at the end there, Democrats had over 685,000 more registered voters than Republicans. That number has been cut in half as of today. At the end of 2020 in Arizona, the GOP had 130,000 more registered Republicans than there were registered Democrats. Today, that's 259,000, so almost doubling. At the end of 2020 in Nevada, the GOP trailed by 86,000 registrations. Today, that gap is down to 26,000. The margin of victory for the Biden campaign in 2020 was significantly less than the margin of voter registration that Republicans have made up since then. So this election is trending in the right direction when it comes to the fundamentals. At the end of the day, polling can show whatever you want. The question is, how many voters can you turn out on election day? Actual likely voters, people who are registered to vote and are able to do so. And right now, I think that the Trump campaign is doing a very good job on that. Certainly a much better job than the peanut gallery critics that are, having their hair catch on fire because this polling bump would lead you to believe.
And that's one of the things that I've been focusing on lately is that, I'm from the Midwest. So when it comes to our college sports, when it comes to our food, when it comes to our transportation, it's all about the fundamentals, baby. Yeah. And so when you're looking at a political ground game, that being the fundamental of getting people registered and getting them out to the vote. I mean, I hate to pull a Charles Barkley obvious. It all comes down to turnout kind of analysis here, but it's how you engage the effort to turn out that is going to define a campaign. And it seems like the Harris-Walz campaign is going all in on the youths and going all in on the social media blitz to get every Gen Z and very, very late stage millennial out to the voting booth right now, today. And I haven't really heard about the efforts being spent in Pennsylvania, in Georgia, in Arizona. Who is the Trump campaign? Who is the RNC targeting, at least from anything that you've seen or heard? Who are we going after in trying to ramp up voter registration? I mean, I see a big tent coalition when he gets out in front of the rally. Does that also carry over into the registration bid?
Absolutely. Look, again, it's different in each of these states. In Georgia, we're definitely starting to see a breakaway where Black men in particular are voting for much lower numbers for Democrats than they have been historically. That's going to be relevant there. In Arizona, this big shift that we've seen with Hispanic voters over the last 5 or 6 years is really going to be highly relevant in whether we can win that election. Same thing in Nevada. In the Midwest, it's all about the white working class vote. So it's a different strategy in each of those states. And it's always going to be a hybrid of those different constituencies that we're pulling from. You can't index exclusively on one constituency over the other, but there is an absolute advantage that Republicans have right now that is growing because of these voter registration numbers. And we have a bunch of groups out there, whether it's Turning Point Action, the campaign itself, a bunch of other C4s and super PACs that are doing a lot of hard work preparing ballot harvesters that are actually going to make sure that those votes make it into ballot boxes. Look, I think the youth vote is real. Democrats have an advantage with it, but these are not exactly high propensity voters. We're talking about the same generation of people that are terrified to meet their DoorDash driver at their door and insist that he leave the package behind so that they don't have to interact with another human being. These people are not going to turn out at the level that older voters do when it actually comes time to vote. They'll post a lot of brat memes and a lot of TikToks, but they're not actually going to be high propensity voters. That's just a reality of American politics. Young voters do not vote all that much. And so it can be demoralizing to see how unified the Democratic Party is and all this energy. But we have to remember that these elections are always competitive. They're always razor thin. The bump that President Trump had a few months ago was always going to evaporate. And so it's going to be a tight election. It's a coin toss. But the campaign and all of these affiliated groups are in a really strong place to make sure that we have a fighting chance at making sure 2020 doesn't happen again. And that we put back together that 2016 coalition plus some new interesting constituencies and actually get a win here.
Be straight with me. We've been friends for a while. Is it bad that I am not terribly upset that this is close? Because I remember in 2016, a large reason that Hillary lost is because her voters got complacent. You can make an argument that in some places in the country in 2020, there was a little bit of complacency on the right. And I was worried a little bit, just to be frank, that seeing Trump lead Biden in the polls so significantly might engender a little bit of complacency. We talked about this a bit at the RNC. Is it bad that I'm kind of happy to see, a kind of tooth and nail fight, because that might rally Republicans to actually follow through and head to the polls instead of trusting somebody else will do it?
Absolutely. Look, I think the campaign's mindset would have been the same regardless. There's a bunch of real competent killers on the Trump campaign that would have treated this like this was a close election, even if we had a 10-day polling advantage going into Election Day. But I do think it matters for the electorate. On any given day when you can go submit a ballot, most Republicans are normal people with jobs and families and, oh no, have to take the kid to daycare, have to take them to football practice, whatever. There's all sorts of reasons not to vote. And people don't often feel like that their vote is going to be dispositive for determining an election. Having a close election is the best way to ameliorate that. People will realize that this election's close, their vote matters, and especially in those 6 states that are highly relevant to the outcome of this election, hopefully it'll give people the kick in the butt that they need to actually go out to vote. And so, yeah, I would much rather have these next 100 days have people more on their toes, a little bit more vigilant and prepared to actually turn out and vote and bring their friends, rather than walking into it thinking we had it in the bag like Hillary did in 2016 and then getting a rude surprise at 2 a.m. that night.
Cool, calm, incisive analysis. That's the kind of stuff that we expect and see consistently from Saurabh Sharma. If you're not listening to Moment of Truth over at American Moment, you're missing out. I'm just going to level with you. That is something that is definitely worth checking out because you get that all the time. Saurabh, thank you so much for joining us and giving us a little bit of perspective that isn't people sounding network TV alarm bells over polls every 3 minutes.
It's my pleasure, Tony. Thank you.
We'll be back in just a second. Don't go anywhere. This is the Tony Kinnett Cast, nationally syndicated from the Daily Signal and first on 93 WIBC.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and I don't think folks really appreciate just how bad indoor air quality is this time of year. Between the pollen and dirt, dander, and who knows what else, it takes a professional to clean them out of your ductwork and your carpets. How about having Zero Res help you take on all of that with a great August special? Get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $119 and take 20% off their duct cleaning services too. For the record, this isn't your normal cleaning of ductwork and carpets. The new H2 HyperVac truck is Zero Res's amazingly efficient tool to clean your ducts effectively. And after cleaning the ductwork, don't forget to clean the largest air filter in your home, your carpets, with the ZR Water Difference. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, leaving things really clean. Now mention WIBC and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $119. Plus, you get 20% off their very effective duct cleaning. Call 317-388-5141. Book online at zeroresindy.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Hey everybody, this is Pastor Nathan Peternell, and I'm here with Travis Rogers to tell you about the Alpha Course.
That's right, Nathan. The Alpha Course is a chance to explore life's big questions in a relaxed, friendly setting.
It's a free course that starts on Monday, September 9th at 6:30 p.m. at the Life Church Noblesville campus. Each Monday night begins with a delicious meal followed by a short video and discussion time. Alpha is the perfect place for open and honest conversations about life where no question is off limits.
You don't want to miss it. Register today at lifechurchin.com.
Pat Sullivan here for Hope Plumbing.
Summer months bring high temperatures and a whole lot of moisture that needs to stay out of your home. A sump pump is vital to protecting your home from heavy rains and rising waters that do nothing but leave behind damage. During the month of August, my friends at Hope Plumbing will buy back your old sump pump for $300 with the purchase of an upgraded sump pump and new battery backup system. Stay dry and call Hope Plumbing, hopeplumbing.com.
Aren't you worried Max might run off?
He's safe. We installed invisible fence. See a special collar?
So he can roam freely but won't leave the yard?
Exactly. And it was so easy. Invisible Fence installed everything and even sent out an expert to train Max.
I need Invisible Fence for Roxy.
Go to invisiblefence.com to get started today, absolutely risk-free. Give your pet freedom and safety. Go to invisiblefence.com right now and schedule your free consultation. Go to invisiblefence.com. That's invisiblefence.com.
Whether you're dropping them off for their first day of school or they're driving themselves for the first time, we know you have enough on your mind. That's why Hubler's got you and your family covered for 100,000 miles. So head back to school in a Hubler Q-certified vehicle, including a 128-point vehicle inspection and a free Carfax history report. Shop any of our 12 locations and choose from Chevys, Fords, GMCs, Buicks, Nissans, Acuras, Mazdas, Hondas, and many more. Over 2,000 vehicles. All makes, all models, certified vehicles, luxury vehicles, even the hard-to-find ones. Head back to school with peace of mind, knowing Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles.
Hubler's got you covered.
Visit drivehubler.com or any of our 12 locations.
Hubler's got you covered.
Warranty on select models less than 9 years old.
Housing discrimination because of race, color, or national origin is against the law. If you believe you've experienced housing discrimination, contact HUD at hud.gov/fair housing.
Awful tweets, the ones that no one ever deletes. Awful tweets on the Tony Kinnett Show.
On 93 WIPC.
Welcome for another great installment of Awful Tweets, the segment where you send us the worst posts, not just from Twitter and X, but all over social media. You send us the TikToks. We've actually got one of those lined up for today. You send us the really awful Facebook posts. If there's some weirdo on MySpace, you send that our way. And then I torture our own Jerry Lopez, that's at Indie Spanglish over on X. And he suffers as we all laugh. Jerry, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, I can't wait to begin the suffering.
Oh, well, let's not keep you waiting then, bud. So up first, we have a side-by-side set of tweets from the ever-objective CBS News. So back on June 17th, a great day in American history, not in least part because it was my birthday, CBS reported former President Donald Trump's vow to stop taxing tips would cost the federal government up to $250 billion over 10 years, according to a nonpartisan watchdog group. But then, on August the 12th, after Kamala Harris adopted a similar position, Jerry, they tweeted, Vice President Kamala Harris is rolling out a new policy position. It's new, Jerry, it's new. Saying she'll fight to end taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers. Oh, isn't that amazing, Jerry? I mean, just such objective journalism.
Yeah, it really makes, I mean, they made that change in 60 days, right? The exact same policy. It really makes you wonder, before social media, before screenshots, before we even thought about keeping receipts on journalism, how long has this been going on? Right? To be able to see it side by side and just see it's the same account, same gold check mark. This is about as official as it's supposed to get. Really? Like the same thing?
Well, let's move away from just downright bad into downright awkward. This is from Indigo Bus, our lovely bus transportation company in Indianapolis, a professional organization full of adults and professionals. They say the only one thing to do when you have a fleet of good-looking buses, and then they made a graphic for only buses.
Yeah, so there's two things here. One, I don't know if Thomas Carl Cook, the ex-deputy chief for Mayor Hogshead, is running the only buses site. But I will tell you that Indigo should be very careful the way they market their tailpipes downtown. Okay, so I would be very careful. With all the crime and vagrants, I would not be, that's out only.
So, moving on from Indigo buses, a lot of these tonight are from Politico. A lot of people sent us in things just this afternoon from Politico. Apparently, they just had a really bad week. So, this is from Politico yesterday. They said that Trump has been moving to tie Harris to the Biden economy. Quote, they are a team, end quote. Can you believe that, Jerry? Trump is trying to tie Kamala Harris to Joe Biden.
Yeah, Kamala Harris tied herself to Joe Biden. If you just look at the signs that were made 60 days ago, they are a team. They're kind of like Will Ferrell and that guy in Step Brothers. Like, brothers don't shake hands. Brothers got to hug. They are a team.
Now hold on a second here. Now let's not get too hasty. If we go to whitehouse.gov, just a simple U.S. site, very official, talk a little bit about some important electoral and law and legal policy stuff here. I see Kamala Harris side by side with Joe Biden. It's almost like she's his vice president. It's crazy stuff. Well, that's not all Politico has to offer. On the Politico magazine side, and this was clipped and sent in just a little bit ago, it says Tim Walz's military retirement was more complicated than J.D. Vance wants you to think. I guess, Jerry, that saying you retired as a command sergeant major and actually retiring as something else, see, that's really complicated, Jerry. That's complicated.
Yeah, if there's anything that the military does not give you is complication, okay? He has a simple form called a DD-214 that will tell him everything he needs to know about how complicated his military service was, and I bet it doesn't say Command Sergeant Major.
No, it says Master Sergeant. And by the way, that's not a bad thing. Not at all.
No.
It's not exactly easy to slide your way up to Master Sergeant. An E8 is nothing at all to sneeze at. So why lie about it? This is so silly. Well, we'll take a break from Politico for just a second. This one is from both Republicans against Trump and then the Daily Mail. It says the Daily Mail has obtained a photo of J.D. Vance posing with 3 female classmates in a boys' restroom during his senior year of high school in Ohio. So weird. And it's a picture of 3 girls, or maybe 2 girls and a teacher, standing at urinals. All of the clothes are on, like nothing weird. And then J.D. Vance is just in the photo. Yeah, they got him, Jerry. They got him. Finally.
Well, what's weird to me is all of a sudden they know what female classmates are and what a boys' restroom is.
Like, all of a sudden,
make that part make sense.
All of a sudden, girls don't belong in the boys' restroom. Whoa! Well, how
do we even know they're girls? How do we even know they're girls? They might all be boys.
Well, we'll let Daily Mail off the hook for just a second here. We'll head back over to Politico. They said that Trump reportedly used a slur against Harris in private conversations. Now, hold on, Jerry. When you think of the headline, used a slur about Kamala Harris, what pops up into your head? What do you think? Maybe what category
immediately a racial slur.
Yeah,
immediately a racial slur.
You think, clearly used a slur. They're talking about how she's the first black woman running for president. It's clearly a racial slur.
Honestly, race is the only thing that we use the term slur for, honestly, for any race.
Right. So actually, and this is from Mike Allen over at Axios, report 3 siren emojis. Trump has repeatedly called Kamala Harris and then the B word in private. He called her that. By the way, not only have her own staff members called her that in leaked messages to the media, that's it? Trump called her just like a more spicy version of jerk? Really? Is that what he's got?
I think it's bigger than that. I think Willie Brown called her that with his eyes closed. So I don't really know. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Also, hot take, didn't she spend the last couple of years calling him like the reincarnation of Hitler, fascist, super Satan? I'm just saying,
but back to the CBS thing. though. You're not supposed to remember anything they did in the past, Tony. Like that.
Super Hitler. Just something that's kind of crude that we always have known that Donald Trump says. Okay. I'm just saying. I'm personally not really drawn out on that one. This last one though, this is just for. This is an amazing video about why apparently Good Morning is racist. Jerry, you got to check this one out.
Do you know why you say the term good morning? Let's take it back to the plantation. Good morning was a term that the slave master used when a slave was unalived. And the other slaves were in a state of grief when they were in a state of mourning. They were crying. They were sad. To further taunt the rest of the slaves, the slave master would say, "Good morning." And then he would want them to say it back. This is why I do not say the term good morning. We say grand risings, rich risings, abundant risings, glorious risings. We do not want to use that verbiage.
Glorious risings too. Did you know the word good morning is apparently a plantation term or whatever, Jerry?
Yeah, I think you could just Google that and find out that's wrong. But if you say those other things that she says, good rising, or like I
glorious rising to you, sir.
Yeah. Unless you say, hello, me lord, glorious rising, me lord.
So, and sorry to pop the racist daydream that she's having. By the way, the earliest known use of the words good morning comes from Middle English, back when English was still pretty well blended between German and French. In 1150, that's the first time that the words good morning came from English, but like wishing someone a good morning or a good day, that's been around since like 2000 BC. So I know it's kind of disappointing that it's so easy to pop a TikToker's bubble right there. So, Jerry, tell me, how can people send us some of their awful social media posts?
Hey, you can just send those in, whether it's on you can DM us, Indy Spanglish, or at the Tonus, or you can just send it right into, what is it, TonyKinnett.com/contacts. I believe you can send your stuff there. And, we will post the ugliest, funniest ones. Remember, it doesn't have to be just from Twitter. It can be from any social media at all.
We'll be back for another excellent segment of Awful Tweets next week. Jerry Lopez, I'll see you on the other side of Chicago, my friend.
All right, have a good day.
We will be back in just a second with some upcoming stuff that you need to see this evening. This is the Tony Kinnett Cast here on the Daily Signal, syndicated nationally first to 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC.
Hezbollah fired around 30 Katyusha rockets into northern Israel.
The U.S. is sending more troops and military assets to the region.
Another news update is minutes away.
The U.S.-Mexico border. Record illegal immigration.
How do you deport 18 million people? Let's start with 1 million.
On the level, on the go.
Cracking down on short-term rentals.
An ordinance to place new zoning requirements on homes rented out through Airbnb or Vrbo.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
According to a 2023 Gallup poll, 71% of non-retired adults are worried about retirement saving. At Howard Bailey Financial, we don't believe retiring with confidence should be guesswork. In fact, our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we provide our Retire with Purpose toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you won't outlive. To receive your complimentary toolkit, text CLARITY to 866-482-9559. Take a step toward a more confident retirement with Howard Bailey Financial and text CLARITY to 866-482-9559.
This endorsement was not provided by a client of Howard Bailey. This individual was compensated for this endorsement. For more information, visit howardbailey.com/TS1.
The search for the temporary fix. It's led you back there again, in the pharmacy aisle, looking for the new and improved pill or spray that will clear up your stuffy nose. And you'll give it a try because at least it helps you breathe, right? Yeah, it does. And it may work, but it's hurting you more than it's helping. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent, where we've pioneered simple solutions to nasal breathing problems without the pain and inconvenience of surgery. In-office procedures like balloon sinuplasty require 0 surgical cuts, little to no downtime, and can have you breathing better in less than 30 minutes. There are few, if any, practices that have been performing the balloon sinuplasty procedure longer than Advent. That's why we're a global destination for those living with nasal breathing problems. Visit AdventKnows.com to see if you're a candidate for balloon sinuplasty, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Everyone
Everyone's talking about Galaxy Concrete Coatings and their transformation, like your neighbor Brett.
We did Galaxy for the sidewalks and also the porch. The porch had a few pits. Galaxy said that was no problem.
Home or business, Galaxy Concrete Coatings got you covered.
Obviously with the front sidewalk and step, so we didn't worry about any kind of slipping. You know, you're concerned about that after rain. And then when it did dry, it didn't spot, it didn't stain. It was just like it had been done yesterday.
Lots of styles to choose from. 4 times stronger than epoxy and a 15-year warranty.
One thing that my wife commented on was how easy the Galaxy coating swept versus just the bare concrete.
Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com now. That's Galaxy Concrete Coatings. And remember to like us on Facebook. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. We're out of this world.
We moved here recently. I didn't even think twice about calling anyone else but Galaxy to come do this house.
Indy Humane, committed to helping Central Indiana's pets in need since 1905. Find your new best friend today. IndyHumane.org.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
It's the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast here on 93 WIBC and the Daily Signal. There is a little something that we've got special for you this evening, and that is an exclusive new documentary from my colleague, Mary Margaret Olahan at the Daily Signal. We've talked a lot about the government getting involved with the disturbing transgender trend with young people, and basically making it more difficult by the day in Western countries for parents to maintain health standards for their kids as these dangerous social trends continue to be pervasive. Well, the Swiss government, and this was reported early in July, the Swiss government actually stole a child from her parents because the parents refused to give her puberty blockers. For more than a year, she has been placed in a government home, and authorities are basically beginning the process of medically transitioning this child without her parents' consent. This is a story that you need to see. This is exactly where Western civilization is moving, and this is where, by the way, the Kamala Harris pro-transgender campaign is driving forward. This is the Gavin Newsom special coming right through. This is the trailer for the exclusive documentary airing this evening. Check it out.
At this stage, the Swiss Child Protection Agency has full authority over where our daughter is treated. And they have mandated that she be treated at the Geneva Public Hospital, which has the gender affirmative model.
She's now in the care of the state because her father would not agree to allow her to undergo an attempted gender transition.
As a father, it's earth-shattering.
This is a case in which you have loving parents that are residing in Geneva, Switzerland, that are doing everything in their power to protect their daughter from the harms of gender ideology.
There was and is an alliance of institutions which are acting against us as parents. And on the one hand, reinforcing her belief that she was born in the wrong body and she's a boy, and on the other hand, has all the power and the resources to execute their ideology-driven agenda.
That is this evening for Mary Margaret, the exclusive documentary on the government taking this man's daughter. We were able to secure that exclusive interview, really because Mary Margaret's a phenomenal reporter. She does amazing work covering family issues, life issues, and pretty much everything else. Head over to youtube.com/Daily Signal. Our Daily Signal page is where you're going to find that. That is premiering in just a few minutes. Just after 8 p.m., it is very worth the watch. If it's something you don't have time for right now, you can head over to that video and click watch later. There's something that'll just slide it over into the back burner so that this evening, after everything's finally put down, you need to know what's coming. And you need to have this, by the way, for when the next individual tells you, oh, this isn't happening. Nobody's coming for your kids. There are just, bills that have been passed in the state of California which forbid teachers from telling parents when their child is going through gender dysphoria. so that parents can't help them, because this is all about cutting parents out of the relationship with their children, because the state's, just done such a tremendous job with education and child upbringing since the founding of the Department of Education under Carter. So now we need to take a closer examination at how we begin to shift society back towards a family-centric model. Both sides of the aisle right now tell you that in this election, oh man, it's all pro-family, and Kamala's getting up on stage saying they're super pro-family. Trump's up on stage saying they're super pro-family. But only one of the current candidates has actually made strides in increasing the amount of leverage that parents have under the United States and honors the constitutional rights of parents to parent. The other, well, again, echoing Gavin Newsom's California policies, believing that a child can just suddenly decide one day that they're a different gender, and then, of course, promoting men in skirts to being senior members of the health services department is beyond insane. So, pushing those things aside, it's important that we continue to make sure we build our repertoire of data and information, because when I get into some kind of a political discussion, when I get into a debate, whether it's on C-SPAN or whether it's on another network, and I'm arguing with a counterpart of mine on the other side of the aisle, and I mention that there is a trend going on, this is something that is happening, Americans are not fans of this. The other person, as we found with a guy from Occupy Democrats on a recent political debate, he responded, well, where do you have that? Are you just making this up? This is just something that you're just saying to rile people up out there in the airwaves. That's when you hit them back with the exact video, the interviews, the articles, because once you point out quite clearly that the other person is grasping at straws, trying to claim that what you're saying isn't true because it's very difficult to defend the government stealing a child away from the home of their parents, whether it's the government of the UK, of France, of the United States, of Switzerland in this particular instance, or a situation in which the government is perhaps covering up a kind of violence at a school or a certain transgender procedure, opportunity with the local nurse's office, or perhaps a inter-school violence problem. Those things should be ready for you to cite so that individuals who are watching and learning about the situation can have access to that, because you can be darn sure that the legacy media is not going to make it easy on other individuals to have access to the same stuff that you're getting access to right now. That'll about wrap things up for today. We will be back tomorrow for a little end of the week wrap up. It's going to be a blast. Thanks for tuning in this evening. This has been the Tony Kinnett Cast on the Daily Signal, nationally syndicated first to 93 WIBC.